Welcome to the Patriot Podcast. And here is my on again, off again, on again, off again co host.
It's a one night stand scenario.
All right. Um, what I want to talk about today is, well, two things. One is the SAVE Act, um, which this lady will get into. The SAVE Act was originally put out last year. But it basically died in the Senate because the Senate was Democratic controlled. Well, now that all three branches of government are Republican, uh, Mike Johnson has reintroduced the bill into the House, knowing that since the Senate is now Republican controlled, he can actually get that shit past the Senate and onto the Cheeto Mussolini's desk.
Oh, the phantom fascist, huh?
Yeah.
The unmustachioed Mussolini.
Yep. Well, I call him the Cheeto Mussolini or the Orange Mussolini. But
Oh, come on, it's Cheeto Hitler.
A couple of days ago and asked me, had I seen what was going on with the SAVE Act? And I was like, the SAVE Act? That's old. That's from last year. Why are you talking about the SAVE Act now? I remember the SAVE Act being introduced in the House and it was passed to the Senate and it died in the Senate. And Joe Biden said that he wasn't going to sign it if it came to his desk. Well, the reason why that commenter brought it up is because the SAVE Act is back into play. And married women, it's going to affect you. Seriously. If you are a married woman and you are looking to register to vote, in order to register to vote, if this legislation gets passed, you must provide proof of citizenship. Remember, I did a video a few weeks ago saying, get your papers ready. And I was advising people to get either their passport or their birth certificates, because those are the only two forms of ID that prove that you are a citizen of this country. A passport is proof that you are a citizen because in order to get that passport, you have to provide your birth certificate. So in order to prove that you are a citizen of this country, that is by way of birth certificate or passport. Your driver's license, your state ID, your conceal and carry, your employee ID, those are not proof of citizenship. Proof of citizenship is your birth certificate or your passport.
Stop.
Here's the bill. You can go to congress.gov.
okay.
No, I'm not trying to interrupt. I'm trying to point out something. In order to get an ID,
Yeah.
you have to prove citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
And this usually requires a piece of mail, something or an old ID, and a birth certificate. There are three documents you have to get an ID or driver's license, right?
Yeah.
So them saying you have to show a visa, a travel visa, or a birth certificate.
Yeah.
No. We have proof of citizenship laws here in Kansas, as you well know.
Yes.
You're required to show your ID. If you don't have ID, you do not vote. If you can't show your vote, you need to have your ID and possibly your voter's registration card, which not a lot of people carrying on them for some stupid reason. But both of those count as proof of citizenship, because you're not allowed to register to vote if you're not from here, if you're not a citizen.
No.
Now,
But with this Save Act, is they're basically trying to say if you're married, you're screwed.
well,
They want
actually,
they want you to bring in your birth certificate or your passport. And if your birth certificate doesn't have your, if your birth certificate has your, let's say, your maiden name on it, if you're a woman, but your passport has your married name on it, then the Save Act it could basically say, well,
could
since your name didn't
be in the
match your
key
birth
word.
certificate.
Now, the House of Representatives will vote on H.R. 8281, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, or SAVE Act, introduced by Chip Roy, Republican from Texas,
Mhm.
requires voters to prove documentary proof of citizen at the time of registration. You have to do that here in order to vote anyway.
Yeah.
And saying that if a woman's birth certificate doesn't match what her driver's license says or her ID,
Hmm.
they don't reissue those with your fucking married name on them.
Yeah, I know.
So for all this is an attempt at. They don't change your last name on your birth certificate just to appease a voter's registration issue. This is how you were born with this name. This is the evidence in there. So fuck off. And citizenship is already a requirement to vote, but is not always the easiest thing to prove. Here, you have to be a citizen to even register to vote.
Yeah.
They require it. According to this, the SAVE Act needs to more time and resources to be implemented well. There are better ways, like a real ID with a yellow star, and data sharing to improve voter list accuracy. The problem is, what has Trump done with data sharing in the government?
It all goes to him.
He broke it that way. It has to go to him first. So we're all still screwed as far as that goes. The federal government should expand state access to federal eligibility data. They do, but the problem is Trump wants to covet all that information to use it how he wants. And state legislatures are making progress on citizenship and list maintenance. This is not hard. The problem is the MAGA heads that are in the government want it so that only white men vote. Period. Oh, well, we need just the head of the household. No, that's your way of saying, fuck everybody. We only want these white guys who want us in office to vote for us again.
Yeah, and Mary Trump said it best. The reason why they're doing this with the SAVE Act is because they don't want to lose.
Problem is they cannot take away a woman's right to vote. Even with a bill, they can't do it. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. Because, as we've been talking about all week, what does it need? What does this bill need to pass?
2/3 of Congress.
And why is that?
Because it's a constitutional amendment.
What's a constitutional amendment?
This SAVE Act is a constitutional amendment that needs 2/3 of Congress. Women voting.
SAVE Act is a bill.
Women voting is in the Constitution.
Women voting is a constitutional amendment. And by them trying to challenge and by them trying to pass a bill which contradicts the Constitution, what does that mean?
It means it'll die there in Congress.
It means it requires 2/3 of Congress voting on it to pass it.
Yep. And
that is the whole fucking point. It needs Congress, just like what Trump saying is going to shut down the Department of Education. He can neither sign he cannot sign an executive order or try to get other bills passed that shut down the Department of Education. That requires a 2/3 vote of Congress, much like half the other crap he's trying to do. They require a congressional vote with 2/3 majority to pass most of his shit.
Yeah, and Trump actually made a Napoleonian comment at a news conference. He said to save America. He said to save America, you have to do you have to do illegal stuff.
Says who?
Says him, I guess.
You don't have to do illegal
Oh
stuff.
no, he said to save America, you have to break a few laws, and he quoted Napoleon on that one.
That's not somebody you should be emulating when you claim to be trying to save a country. Because what is he doing to save the country thus far?
Nothing.
Seems more like he's just breaking rules and then, well, I'm doing this for the good of the country. Really, that's why we have an illegal alien you say is a citizen going through the federal government and rooting out waste, even though he's getting kickbacks from the government for his companies. That's a huge conflict of interest, and he's a foreign national.
And I was watching this this Native American earlier on Instagram. They were doing it live. The ICE agents are now targeting Native Americans at the behest of the DHS. This Native American, his father is an elder in the Navajo tribe, and about 11 of them were cornered by ICE, and they were showing their CIB cards, the Indian blood cards. They were showing their state IDs, their CIB cards, and a lot of them don't have birth certificates because they were born on a reservation or they were born in a home. And in these 11 Native Americans were harassed, handcuffed, and threatened to be deported because they didn't have a birth certificate, even though they had their Native American cards. One of the ICE agents says this doesn't count as citizenship.
That would be more of a question for Kristi Noem than me.
Yeah,
because Native Americans do not their rights precede ours, and yeah, where are they going to get deported to? They've been here thousands of years.
The Native American I was listening to, he said he overheard one of the other ICE agents said, "Well, we could ship them to Guantanamo."
I swear, I don't know what news stuff you're listening to, but
no, I was watching. This guy was on Instagram Live, and he was sitting in a house that had a bunch of Native American stuff on the wall. And you could see his father walking through the house, dressed in the traditional Native American garb. And he asked his father where he was going, and he was going to a meeting of the elders to see what they could do to try to stop the Native Americans from being harassed by ICE agents, because the ICE agents showed up at the reservation wanting to see all their freaking documentation if they're really legal immigrants of the country.
The ICE agents need to prove that they're legal citizens of the United States before they do that to Indians.
Yeah,
because I'm sorry, but they've been here a couple of thousand years. I think the ICE agents need to prove that they're Americans first.
Yeah,
because the dudes, they don't need to show shit. They outdate us here.
Yeah, this gentleman was talking, and he said that they were all terrified because they were in handcuffs. They were getting threatened by ICE, and saying that their CIB cards, which is basically Indian blood cards.
Here's a little unknown fact for you that I happened to dig up a couple of years ago, but. Some Native American tribes, for some reason, have been allowing illegal aliens to register as Indian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a little known story. Almost nobody's heard about it. I dug it up a few years ago and just kind of memorized it. But yeah, they've been passing off illegal immigrants as Indians because the Mexicans have nowhere else to go.
Wow. That's just wild.
Now, I told you Elon Musk is getting paid for.
Yeah.
Elon Musk is making money no matter what he does, whether he's running Doge or whether he's not running Doge. He's still making money off the American government, which makes a huge conflict of interest. And like he's trying to eliminate STEM funding.
Yep.
And why would he eliminate STEM funding?
He doesn't want anyone smarter than him.
That could be a reason. And like, okay, those two astronauts that are still stuck in space, how'd they get up there?
Him.
And then it took them how long to get? It's taken them how long to figure out a problem? And just in the past week, they've started involving NASA.
Yeah, and now Doge is targeting NASA. After this,
here's the kicker of it. NASA has sent people into space and brought them back.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has not done that. He sent them up and they can't get back down. Oh, it's going to take us months to figure out what happened. You should be making a viable effort to bring those people back. Be damned with your research. He should have brought NASA in as soon as something happened.
Yeah.
But he's claiming to have all these smart people. Well, they're not as smart as NASA because NASA would have already figured this problem out. They would have already sent a shuttle to go get them. He doesn't want anybody stepping on his toes, making him look stupid.
Swamp Russ is Elon Musk is bailing NASA out. NASA is the one who messed this up. Elon Musk is saving them. There's the link for you, Kiki, so you can come up and express your opinion. Yeah. Yeah. She says, Carl, that's not true. Elon Musk wasn't the one who put those astronauts up there. Elon Musk is bailing NASA out and going up to get them. I don't know where you got that story. I like you, but you're wrong.
That bothers me 0%.
There's a link, Kiki. Come on up. Now, NASA was the one who put the astronauts up there. Now the stories I heard was it was SpaceX because you've had all these different stories. You have all these different stories about NASA and SpaceX.
When there was a problem with them coming back to terra firma or back to Earth,
yeah,
who is the company who took credit for this problem?
NASA.
No, SpaceX.
Oh, SpaceX. Okay.
Yeah, I've been following this a long time. SpaceX is the one that said they had to delay it because they couldn't figure out what the problem was.
That's messed up. And now you have a $1 billion donor for SpaceX, who's now the director of NASA. So that's not a weird coinky dink, now is it?
So you're putting a big donor in a position of power at NASA.
No, a big donor of SpaceX.
Yeah, big donor for Elon Musk and his company.
Mm-hmm.
In charge of NASA. And has this guy been to space?
No, but he backs Elon Musk's quest for Mars.
It doesn't matter what he backs. Has he ever been to space? Has he ever had to crunch these numbers?
Oh, yes, yes. He was an astronaut. He was an astronaut for NASA before leaving NASA to join SpaceX as a billion dollar investor for SpaceX, and now he is the director of NASA, uh, even though he's with SpaceX.
So in other words, he's a hedge fund guy.
Yeah. Swamp Rose said there's no donor who is as big as the U.S. government. Now that's not true, Swamp. Um,
There's
I love you to death, Swamp.
There's
But
there's no financial backer bigger than the U.S. government. No backer bigger than the U.S. government. No financial backer. Strange how all these guys who are going to space now are all billionaires.
she said, "How do you think Elon Musk got so rich?" Now, now was he the co-creator of PayPal or or Snapchat? That's what you were telling me that he got rich off of.
Elon Musk made his first huge sell with selling PayPal.
Yes, and then he turned around and what? And then he turned around and bought Tesla.
Yes.
And then he turned
buys
around
all these companies and then makes a fortune off of them, and it's not intelligence, it's just luck.
She said he's not going to space off PayPal money. No.
Selling PayPal is what led to him being. It was the stepping stone for him being.
Yeah.
The head mind for all that. So yeah. Has Elon Musk been to space?
No.
Did he work at NASA for 20 years?
No.
Has he ever designed a rocket all by himself and figured out how to do all that stuff by himself?
No, I don't think so.
He has teams of people he pays to do that for him.
Yes. It makes me wonder if he's paying the little Doge maggots too.
That I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
There is nobody who designed a rocket by themselves, Carl. Everybody works in a team to design a rocket. Now here's the thing.
Wrong, but sure, we'll go along with that narrative for the moment. There are 6 people.
I know you're at home, Kiki. Come on up.
Their own rockets to go to space, and were stopped by the National Security Agency.
Okay, now a staffer for NASA. I was watching something on Instagram earlier, and it was a relative of a NASA staffer. They were on live together, Instagram Live, and this staffer has stated that since Isaac Munn is now the director of NASA, they received the NASA staff received an email that their the rocket production section of NASA in the next few months is going to be receiving cuts as far as worker wise.
Yeah, because all these people think they're wasting money. It costs money to figure out how to do stuff like go to the moon or go to Mars or even get into space.
Yeah, because I think it's fun. I mean, I think it's ironic that you have this billionaire donor for SpaceX who's now in charge of NASA, who's now cutting rocket research technicians. It makes you kind of think that he's doing this to boost SpaceX.
Well, if you want to promote your own company and gut another, you do that.
Yeah. And I don't know how true this is, but what's his name? RFK Jr. since he's the head of Health and Human Services, he did actually do something nice. Doge came in there and laid off a bunch of Indian research workers. From India.
Uh-huh.
Robert Kennedy or RFK Jr. came in and rescinded the determination that they all got through email from and it was assigned in the email Doge. Yeah. Department of Government Efficiency emailed all these workers, said, "Hey, you're fired. Bye." And RFK Jr. came in and rescinded the firing and said that you guys can stay. You got your work is really important. Just please ignore what's going on with Doge. But at the same time, he did allow Doge to go into the CDC and start defunding shit from the CDC.
Yeah, and this all has to do with Trump not liking the CDC or the NIH because they don't do exactly what the hell he says. Like, he's already said that he wants all of the epidemics and pandemics, anything that's going to do harm, needs to go through him and his administration first before they release the information.
Yeah, and dude, it was so fucking funny. I watched. It was Dana Bash. She had on Christy Nome earlier today. It was so funny. Yeah, she was grilling Christy Nome, and Christy Nome says, "Well, you can't trust the government." And Dana Bash snap back says, "Excuse me, Miss Nome, you are the government." And then Christy Nome says, "Oh well, yeah, but the majority of Americans don't trust the government. I mean, I wouldn't." And then Dana Bash reiterated, she goes, "Miss Nome, you are the government." And Dana Bash says, "I'm sorry, Miss Nome, that you're living in La La Land, but you are with the government."
I just switched over to comment instead of private chat, so I'm seeing all the chat stuff going on. Aren't we supposed to be mining other planets? Isn't what the big space race is about? Yeah. That it's not just about that.
No.
But yeah. Companies are starting to pour a lot of money into space travel because they want to be the one to mine meteorites that are worth quadrillions of dollars.
He is Swamp Rose. She said, "Please be nice to Aquarius and Angel."
I know. I just read the comment as I was. I was literally just stating what companies are doing and why they're doing it.
Yeah. Now you do have Musk with the Mars shot, but every time I hear Trump talking about Project Stargate, I keep thinking of the James Spader movie, where they go to that freaking
Yes, I know.
where they go to that planet.
My wife watches the Stargate series on TV, much to my annoying chagrin.
Yeah, because I mean, every time he talks about Project Stargate, I see James Spader talking to that freaking Pharaoh from the Stargate movie.
I don't know what Project Stargate is anymore because I've been too busy doing other things and looking up stuff myself. So yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, and he also wants, the way he puts it, he said, instead of normal infrastructure, I want to invest in AI infrastructure for America.
AI is, honestly, there needs to be laws, literally laws made to rein in AI, because AI is just it's becoming out of control.
Yeah. And then of course you have
And I have already seen examples of AI on YouTube,
yeah.
and it's it's kind of disgraceful. But Elon, what, 2 or 3 years ago, said that we need to create legislation to restrict AI. One of the few things he said that was actually accurate, and we're actually now behind on AI because people are starting to use it more and more and more and more.
Yeah. And
Now
when
that's
you
a
have
funny comment.
yeah. Uh
No,
oh,
from
Angel
Angel
D.
D. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a notification because I subscribed to Robert's channel after you forced me to watch you guys talk politics. LOL. That's Angel D. Yeah, she's a sweet person.
Oh, I'm sure.
Um, but I mean, you have now what's weird is they did an overlay over there in Los Angeles because they're wanting to put in some new super fucking train. There in Los Angeles. Yeah, and the the way the track is supposed to be, or the station of the track, they did an overlay on it, and where the burn shit is there in Los Angeles is where the new train station and track is supposed to go. So now they're thinking that those fires were intentional, that destroyed half of Los Angeles, so they can make way for the way Gavin Newsom puts it, the city of the future, because he wants to make everything AI in Los Angeles.
Wait till he get. He should wait to clean up the vagrant and homeless population first.
Yeah,
Solve the actual issues before you start aiming towards this beautiful Star Trekian utopia. Because it doesn't work if you have a bunch of homeless people who are drug addicts or have
yeah,
clearly psychotic issues.
yeah. Okay, let's finish this video.
Pull up the bill and read it in its entirety for yourself. It's not long at all. You see the date? This bill was introduced. It went through all of the rigmarole that Congress does back in May, June, July of 2024. It passed the House. See right there? And then it went on to the Senate. And in the Senate, it died. And even if it had passed the Senate, Joe Biden was going to veto it. But now the Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And so now this legislation has been renewed, has been revived. And if it passes the House, it could pass the Senate, and then it goes to Donald Trump's desk. And you can guarantee that he will sign it. This bill was to amend the National Voter Registration Act of 1993 to require proof of United States citizenship to register an individual to vote in elections for federal office and for other purposes. So if you are a woman and you are married and you are looking to register to vote, if this bill passes and Donald Trump signs it, in order to register to vote, you will have to provide your driver's license and your birth certificate or your passport. The issue is going to be you are now a married woman, which means you have taken on your husband's name. Therefore, your current ID, your driver's license will not match your birth certificate. And that is going to cause a problem for you to register to vote. The good old Republicans who are looking to put women back in their place and elevate men.
What happens if you bring your marriage certificate along with your birth certificate and your ID?
Good question.
That's proof that your name changed due to marriage. That nullifies any fucking issues that are there. I'm sorry,
Oh,
it's a
boy, that
moot
would-
point at that point. Well, you need to do this. I brought my marriage certificate. You can see how it changed. Boom, done.
Good old Republicans at work.
And
Mhm. Imagine.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm not too worried about the drones that were flying over the city or whatever city they were flying over.
New Jersey. They said they were FAA authorized, and then you had some other private drone operators doing it too.
Yeah, I'm not sure I buy that, but all right, continue with this video, I guess.
Yeah, it's got maybe a minute and a half left on
You
it.
are a married woman. You go to register to vote. Your birth certificate doesn't match your driver's license. They tell you no. And now your husband is casting the vote for you and him. That's what they want. That's how it was way back when, that Make America Great Again. That's how it was back then. And don't think I'm not thinking about how it will affect Black people. Yeah. When women couldn't vote, Black people couldn't vote. So if this passes, it won't be too long before they come for Black people in general. Call your senators, House, Senate, make noise, let other women know, share this video. This is what they're talking about when they say Make America Great Again.
I already told everybody this is coming down the pike on my own podcast,
Yeah.
and apparently nobody listened because I've only got like some 30-odd subscribers to my podcast. I told
Yeah.
everybody this is all going to happen if Trump got back in office. It's starting to happen, so I'm so far ahead of the curve. It's yeah.
I mean, it's not fair. I mean, they're trying to disenfranchise and silence 69 million women in this country because they don't want to lose.
Because they want Christian conservative white Republicans men voting for them, and that's all they give a damn about. They just want to win at any cost. They don't care who they disenfranchise at all. Apparently, even though Trump was the one who said, wasn't he the one who said he was the biggest supporter of women's rights?
Yep.
Where'd that speech go to?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he said it on the campaign trail, but as soon as he got in the office, yeah, I'm not doing that no more. Even J.D. Vance was on, I think it was Face the Nation or Meet the Press or something like that. So and said that once prices are high, the grocery prices are high and egg prices are high, it's hard to get them down.
Parroting what Trump said.
Yep.
It's not hard. Here's the part that's legitimately annoying to me.
Okay.
You keep on having these bird flu epidemics that wipe out fucking entire hatcheries, which is where the eggs come from. That's the reason the price of eggs is so high. Not anything to do with Trump. And people are starting, farmers are starting to get into the habit of taking protective measures.
Yeah.
But you have to, like when you have to call an entire flock of birds.
Yep.
You're supposed to go through and wipe everything down, clean out the ground, do all the sanitizing stuff. And most of them, I think every couple of years they get like one case and they eliminate an entire hatchery.
Yeah.
But when you've got a plantation hatchery with like 8 fucking huge buildings in it, you're just going to call all the birds. You're just going to call all the birds, or put them in an incinerator and burn them, and then put more chickens in an area that still has bird flu in it. They're supposed to go through and clean all the pipes, sanitize every damn thing like we did with COVID.
Yeah.
And boom. Oh, now we can throw some chickens in there and start getting started again. But they're skipping the step of sterilizing everything so the chickens don't get avian flu.
Yeah. I was watching the news last night, and down in Texas, there's 28 cases of the measles, and this one pediatrician stated that
Hold on, I'm answering a question here. How long ago did the live start? It started 41 minutes and 30 seconds ago.
Hey, Bria. I mean, and this pediatrician said that she has never seen in all of her years of being a doctor a measles epidemic of this size. And
have you done a little more digging into that though?
No, she is blaming the yeah. I mean, she said this is not political. This is just the way I see it. There's clearly something going on at the CDC and the HHS where we're getting left out of what's going on.
You haven't done any further listening. You haven't looked at any other stories or anything like that about it, have you?
No, not yet. Hey, Kiki.
Well, hey.
Hello, person with a blue shirt on.
Trying to turn up the volume. So, how's it going, everybody?
It's going okay.
I'm drinking water.
I was drinking green tea.
Oh, Robert, that's so healthy of you.
I drink green tea, but I drink a lot of tea anyway. So
it's so good for your skin. It's so good for your heart. Everything. Hi, chat. Hi, Aquarius, Bria, Angel D. Thanks for representing. We appreciate you in the chat. I haven't been listening for probably like 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, but the conversation was so interesting. I just wanted to come and join you guys on panel and give you a bunch of shit, Carl. Just kidding.
Oh, go ahead. Shovel it in. Let's make a ditch.
Do it.
No, we were just talking about Kiki down there in Texas. They're having a measles epidemic. So far, there's 28 cases that have been confirmed, and the pediatrician down there said in all of her years of being a doctor, this is the worst measles outbreak she has ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's a weird fact for you. Do you know it didn't start in Texas?
No, where did it start at?
Kansas.
Oh, wow.
It started on the Kansas side of Kansas City. They started out with, I think, 68 confirmed cases.
Yeah.
And
and also in Kansas City,
all of those cases were from people who didn't vaccinate their children.
Wow.
Yeah, because there's actually a vaccine for that.
Can I just ask a question, though? It was eradicated. So where did it come from, Carl? Add to that. Because wait, hold on. Before I answer, I'm sorry, so I didn't pose that question correctly. When somebody enters this country, like for instance, when I was a child, as an adult, when I go to different countries with my passport, I have to make sure I have certain vaccinations to enter the country. If I come from a country that doesn't require certain vaccinations, this is a process. When I went to Europe, I had to have certain types of vaccinations, right? So my question is, in a country where that's been eradicated, where all of a sudden did it just pop up if we have people coming into this country with preventative vaccines? Explain that to me, because why should these children have to get those vaccines if we've eradicated it? Where is it coming from? I mean, I'm telling you, when people come from other countries, you have to have certain vaccinations, but how did some people come into the country that were able to spread measles?
I would say due to lax standards in other countries.
Excuse me?
It's probably due to lax standards in other countries. Like
that's not how the customs work, though. The customs are when they come into this country.
Not all of them come in legally either.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So legal migration, legal travel into this country should prevent the spread of a disease like that. But because it's been eradicated in this country, right? So that's why we have passports that tell us where you've been, if you've qualified. I had to get vaccinations to go to Europe when I was a kid. People have to get vaccinations to come to the United States.
You have a vaccination to go to India?
That's not the point. The point is in the United States, we eradicated this. And people coming into the country who aren't vaccinated illegally, if someone comes in undocumented and they're not required to have those vaccines, of course they're going to bring in diseases such as this. And then they're going to spread it to the population here who never would have to worry about that because it's been eradicated in this country and we took measures to stop it from coming back. But when people come here without the proper stuff, these are some of the byproducts of that, of freaking measles epidemic. Right? And then you blame the people who catch it on a disease that they never should have been exposed to ever. You know, I mean, that's like just my opinion. You know, I don't know.
And there are people who are also dormant carriers that don't show active signs of any disease.
Yeah, but it's been eradicated in the country. You see what I'm saying? There's no need for it. It comes in from people who come from other countries where it is existent and they haven't been vaccinated. In other words, people who come in undocumented would carry something like that. Like, I am so for legal migration, and that's why legal migration is important, because you go through the process of making sure you have your vaccinations and your paperwork and all the things you need to be a functioning member of society. When you just say, hey, just do what you want, these are the problems we run into. People who have deadly diseases that should have never been let near are vulnerable children in the US who we try to protect.
There are also people who entered legally who don't
have
get vaccination because of their religious views.
Yes,
so you're saying no? Whoa, wait a second. No. That is American citizen right, not a migrant's right. So if you're coming from Mexico, you don't have the right for religious exemption. You're not a citizen of the U.S. Our laws don't apply to you. You don't have our religious freedoms. So no, they cannot get a religious exemption if they're coming from, like, say, Mexico, Guatemala, and they want to come here and they don't have the proper vaccination. Absolutely not. They can't hijack my American rights and apply them to themselves. I don't think so. That's not how this works. You go through it's when somebody comes across and they haven't gone through the legal migration process, they haven't gotten their vaccinations, because they would have to have those vaccinations to get a passport allowing them to enter the United States. I mean, I know this process well. I work with legal migration, people who legally migrate to the country.
Go ahead, Carl.
Oh, I'm forming the words appropriately in my brain.
Bring it. I'm in a shitty mood today. I'm not towards you, just ready to run my mouth.
There are several people who live around me, because I have a bunch of immigrants living around me from other parts of the world. And I know at least 3 families who their kids have not had any shots except the ones they absolutely have to have. And they don't get any, they claim religious exemption on their paperwork. That way their kids don't receive shots because they think that's somehow destroying their bodies and nothing that foreign should be entering their bodies. But yet, if you go to their country and drink the water there, you will be sick for weeks. So they can stand those things from the opposite side of the world, but we can't, just like they can't stand some things here. They don't believe that vaccinations are acceptable.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, apologizing to Bria in the chat. I want to say something. I also, yes, this one, I want to read it out loud because I do love Bria, and I want to, first off, apologize for my tone. I came on here ready to make a good show, and I don't want to hurt people's feelings, and that's wrong of me. That's why I don't talk about politics on my channel. She says, so it's hard for me to listen to. My husband is an illegal immigrant. Thankfully, he was able to get across. We're in the process of getting his papers. And I don't, and that's where it becomes human. And that's where you feel like a loudmouth, because on the other side of this is the fact that we are one land. There's no physical barrier between Canada and the US. There's no physical barrier between Mexico and the US. Our animals need to migrate back and forth. But there's this system in the US that gives away things for free no matter what. And so the problem is amplified in so many of our, like, I am not trying to take this out on the people, because you're right. Like, I'm a person who wants to help other people, but I am taking out on the local jurisdictions that give everything away for free. And that's the real problem. It's not a person, it's the programs. And so, like, for instance, if you come to a certain city, no matter what, that, like in Massachusetts, we have a right to house. So no matter what, you have to house, you have a right to have a house, and they pay for, it also the healthcare system and different things. And I think that unless they come up with like restrictions or something, I mean, I would blame the government. And I think that that's a learning process for me coming onto a political show, so that I don't hurt someone's feelings, is maybe I need to speak directly about government and not about people. So thank you for saying something. It kind of just humanized the situation for me when I was being a loudmouth. I'm sorry. Do you accept my apology, Bria? I'm learning.
What discourse is about, is speaking about these things.
Yeah.
Speaking about governments, and not people. And I don't ever want to talk about a group of people. I don't like that. And yeah.
I make a few exceptions, like where when people are starting to act like Nazis, then I have to make an exception and call people out on their bullshit on that.
Nazis? Wait, say that again, Carl.
When I see people acting like Nazis, I feel the need to call them out by their tags. So yeah.
Can you bring up Bree's comment, the one she just made, because that's her remark to me. Wait, the one above it. Hold on. Okay, wait. My husband has paid taxes since the first year he's been here. He has never collected a single penny from the U.S. government. Let me click on the next one. No, the next one. Robert, you keep skipping it. It says, and there's a ton of people. And there's a ton of people who take that free stuff. I was one who did. I was getting money from the government for years. Then the next one, it says, no, I totally understand both sides. I get it. What you are saying wasn't wrong. And then the next one, Aquarius says is, hold on. Politics is a rough topic, tough channel. Robert, glad you have it. Yeah. Well, thank you for being part of the discourse. But like, so Bria's one of my mods. And so like, and she's also my friend. We talk every day. So it's kind of interesting for me to like, because I don't talk about these things. It is interesting. Yeah. Like you can't just speak like in general. It reaches everybody. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Cara. I'm turning on my camera. I'm in shame now.
Bria says, yes, thank you, Robert. Kiki.
I end up annoying and pissing off people with my own podcast, with the podcast I have on YouTube. And I'm probably I pissed a lot of people off on TikTok because I am not Democratic or Republican. I'm independent, so I'm going to call it out when I see it. And some people get offended. It's like, well, I'm not concerned about your feelings. I'm just putting the information out there. If it hurts your feelings, that's on you, not me. It's not me trying to be an asshole. It's like I'm just throwing the information out. Do with it what you want. I don't care. It's not my problem.
What I've learned, though, like that I know for sure is I don't know what I don't know. And so like if I'm not an expert on a subject and I'm talking on it, I feel like the debate or the conversation is so important because you can't possibly be an expert on that subject. And talking to people and it's like true crime. We talk about a case and we constantly bounce everything off of each other, right, Robert, in the Idaho 4? Yeah. And we still don't know what's going on, but we correct each other and make sure we get the facts straight. And it's kind of a group think tank. So I think it's the same for politics. Like a lot of us aren't experts on green energy, but we can weigh in with the different things we learn and, teach.
That's a whole other can of worms right there.
I'd rather talk about that than immigration, because whatever's going to happen in the next 4 years is going to happen. I mean, they have a policy, I think, that they tested out 4 years ago that was working, and they'll probably in fact
no, Trump has officially scrapped green energy.
He has.
Yeah, and that was a huge mistake on his part. But then again, we've had that problem since Bush Jr. was in office, because our efforts to get into green energy and green technology vanished because all of a sudden now we're going to the Middle East and stealing oil from them.
What? Who are we stealing oil from? Who?
No, we were stealing oil from the Middle East during Bush Jr.'s presidency.
Right after 9/11.
Yeah.
You mean during the Iraqi war?
No, but after that, you're thinking of Bush Sr. During George W.'s reign.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby Bush.
Iraq? Yeah, but Iraq was during
Afghanistan.
Well, but Afghanistan was first, then we went into Iraq, right?
No,
Iraq was first. Afghanistan was part of the war on terror.
Yeah, right after the 9/11.
Right. And we went after Osama bin Laden, and then we found, remember, the weapons of mass destruction, WMDs, and we went into Iraq?
No, we didn't find WMDs. That's what they reported they found, and that ended up being false.
Iraq was during the same time period. I was bringing it up as an example for George Bush. Remember, we invaded Iraq because of that?
Iraq was a totally different thing.
Oh, okay. I thought you just said that was during George Bush Sr., I thought.
No,
George Bush Jr.
I know. I thought you were telling me. You guys, are we like... Okay, so Afghanistan oil fields, is that what we're talking about right now?
Yes.
Middle Eastern oil fields, yes.
Well, I'm asking, which ones are we specifying? That's broad.
Pretty much any oil.
You said stealing, so I would like you to clarify what you're talking about, because I can't just generally.
Okay, like during the war on terror, our troops were sent in convoys, and they would get dropped off at any unguarded oil field or rig, and put there to watch over it, so nobody else took it. That way, we could control the oil.
What country? What country?
Pretty much any of them. I heard from so many.
You can't say that. Pretty much any of them. Can you imagine if they did that in Iran? Or I mean, like
they did. Iran.
So you're talking about us coming in and stealing oil in Iran?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard that before, and I'm surprised we haven't gone to war or been. You know what I mean? Like, so what you're saying? You're asking me a question about us. I've never even heard the story. There's no way I could even reply to that. I thought you were talking about like spoils of war.
No, this isn't spoils of war. This is them going in.
I have no idea.
Back when we were trying to launch back when we were trying to launch green energy and green technology back then, it got stymied because the war on terror happened, and we were using troops to keep control of the oil field for Bush.
What oil field?
The oil fields in the Middle East.
Carl, that doesn't even, like, how can I even follow what you're saying if you can't be more specific? Can you give me a name of one of these oil fields so I have an example of what story you're talking
I don't know. I haven't looked at.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like, this isn't a general news story that I could weigh in on. Like, if you give me specifics, but I have no idea what you're talking about. I do know there were spoils of war during that time. I do know the money that we paid to go into, if we're going to stay and we're going to help rebuild an infrastructure, there's just no way with the amount of money we were spending on that country that we could do it ourselves. It has to be funded through their oil. Like, I mean, you or I, it's a lot for us to pay for. It definitely should have been funded through their own money. But I don't know.
All I know is what I heard on the news, and then what I heard from the troops who were there. Because I talked to a lot of guys who were in the military at that point, and they're like, yeah, you drive in a huge truck and like 2 or 3 guys got guard one oil area, and then when somebody comes to relieve you, you go on the next spot, pick up the next set of guys. They were using U.S. troops to guard oil. That way, it could be claimed for the U.S.
In what country?
Afghanistan, Iraq.
Yeah, but in Afghanistan, we were at war there. Of course, we were controlling and watching their oil fields. And we were protecting them from the Taliban.
And the weapons of mass destruction was actually incorrect.
I didn't say it was.
Oh, you guys have to give me a minute. I have to go relieve myself in the restroom real fast. So I'll be back in like 2 minutes, less than that. Let me put this thing on here. That way you guys don't have to look at the weird hats we have hanging on the door.
I like them. Hold on. Thank you. I got this at a place called the Earth House. Wait, Carl's not leaving because I'm being a bitch or
No,
something.
no. He has to go. He has to go potty.
Okay. I want to try and like make my avatar so it's like, hold on. Let me see what I can do. Robert.
Yeah.
Am I being a bitch?
No.
Okay. I guess I can't change it. All right.
Now did you know that they're actually building a Titanic 2? Not the
I didn't.
movie. I actually wanted to play this real quick.
I've got to
Carl
fix
can
this
catch it when he
back.
gets back.
He's a big man with an even bigger wallet.
Clive Palmer is a big
Puppy.
lover of big things.
What's the point of having a lot of money if you can't enjoy it?
That's why he's blowing a big wad of cash to build a 2-scale replica of the ill-fated luxury liner, the Titanic.
The vision behind Titanic 2. In 2012, Australian billionaire Clive Palmer announced his ambitious plan to recreate the legendary RMS Titanic. The idea was to build a near replica of the ship, combining the nostalgia of the early 20th century with the technological advancements of the 21st. Palmer's vision stemmed from a fascination with the Titanic's historical significance and its enduring cultural impact.
Say with building Titanic 2, it's not exactly the same as Titanic. The experience is the same, the rooms are the same, but it's...
The original Titanic, with its grandeur and tragic demise, has captivated generations, making it a symbol of human ambition, resilience, and vulnerability. By recreating the ship, Palmer aimed to revive its legacy in a way that honors its memory while charting a new course into the future. For Palmer, Titanic 2 was not just a commercial endeavor, but a personal passion project. He referred to the ship as a symbol of peace and unity, reflecting his desire to create something that transcends borders and resonates with people worldwide. Palmer described the ship as a tribute to human ingenuity, perseverance, and hope.
Well, Titanic was the ship of dreams, and Titanic 2 is the ship where dreams will come true. Titanic's more than a ship. It's about a concept. It's about understanding. It's about a link between peoples on different continents.
He envisioned Titanic 2 as an experience that allows passengers to step back in time, immerse themselves in the opulence and charm of the Titanic era, albeit with modern comforts and safety standards. This blend of historical authenticity and contemporary innovation was at the heart of Palmer's vision.
We're bringing in some of the best designers for cruise shipping from Europe that's had years of experience to make sure that nothing's overlooked. And we've got a specification which is far, far superior than the original Titanic, but the experience on the ship will be exactly the same.
Palmer also emphasized the global significance of the project. He believed Titanic.
Okay, I see. I heard a laugh.
Watch out for ice.
What?
Huh?
Watch out for ice.
All right, Carl, deliver your line. It's time. What? Why did you delete
Iceberg right ahead.
it? Oh, Rocco, my dog is so cute, you guys. Rocky.
Why are they even building a Titanic 2?
Kiki Dink. Okay, let's just talk, you guys. We're not on the regular true crime channel, and I'm not Swamp Rose today, so let's see. It says Kiki Dinky blocked me on his channel, so I can't chat there no more. I miss everyone. Angel, thank you for being my ambassador today in Miss Potts live stream, and I'm so lucky you're my mod. And I think that maybe we have some. I'm just throwing it out there, Robert. These three ladies have given such support to us in the past too.
Yeah.
You might want to consider them as mods for your Patriot podcast.
I thought I made freaking Angel a mod.
Yeah, what's up? Why isn't Angel a mod on your channel to begin with? But you know, Bria is a mod.
I know she's a mod on my other one.
Aquarius is a mod. I'm sorry, Aquarius. I didn't see that.
I don't know what you guys are talking about, but
Carl, we'll do mods for you too. We'll watch out for your channel, but you don't ever tell me when you're live.
I usually
Oh,
pre-record.
that's because
videos
he's
and then
always
release
super
them
busy.
to YouTube.
What? Wait, what?
I usually pre-record my podcast and then release it. That way, if any, because I've had people give me all kinds of crap comments, and I'm like, yeah, don't care, bye.
People like me. You know what it is I'm okay. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm like a wicked naturalist. Like I was forced to take, so Carl, when we talk about the unvaccinated, I guess we're not censoring ourselves right now. So when we talk about being unvaccinated, I will tell you guys, sorry, am I hijacking your live stream, Robert? Do you mind?
No.
Can I talk about this? Okay, you guys, let's talk
Give
about
me
this.
your podcast. Stick them in the air.
What I really want is your opinion. All right, so we're talking about religious exemption. All right. So I started working at a hospital and I needed all sorts of vaccines. So I kept getting religious exemption. And then COVID happened, right? And I was on the front lines of COVID. I got it right away, like when it was really strong and really powerful. I had long haul. It was a crazy experience. I'm glad I was there for my community, whatever. But when the vaccines came out, we were the ones to all get our first, round of them, right? And I'm going to tell you like my own little case study. I watched an entire office of professionals, people who have their doctorates in physical therapy. Anyone who was working on the front lines and had been exposed to it, we watched them like go down on that first vaccine. All of them took sick days, including me. But I had like serious side effects from it personally, and I found them serious. And I got a waiver and I never had to take the second vaccine. It was the only vaccine I ever took when I was at the hospital. And so like, when I hear about like the unvaccinated, I do get kind of sensitive because I realize like how sensitive my body is to vaccines and how much I react to them. And I don't want to be forced to take them. And it's one of the challenges I have when I move with my dogs. I moved to another state and I can't get a job in a hospital now because I don't have that full COVID vaccine. So like I do get sensitive about the vaccinated, and because it's not, I don't want it to sound like it's like about one topic when it's not another. It's just that because I'm a naturalist. Okay, and I'll stop talking. Wait. Give me your
I'm trying to wrap my head around two things you said.
Okay.
And they're not meant to imply that you're dumb in any way or shape or form. It's the logic you just presented.
Yeah.
About the hospitals.
Okay, go. Shoot.
Okay, I never got the COVID shot. I got COVID and my body did what it's supposed to do. That's why I have an immune system.
Yeah.
I have heard I've heard from people who said they couldn't get a job at hospitals for not having the full line of COVID shots. It's like, well, after so long, the COVID shot doesn't really matter because you'll be fighting. You're already immune to so many strains of it anyway. After you have it, you cannot get the exact same strain again.
Right. Well, that was kind of weird.
So them saying, well, you haven't done the full course of COVID. Okay, is this going to be like a flu shot thing? I have to get the flu shot to keep others from getting it? That's reverse logic.
You're kind of preaching the choir. We all said the same thing. We're all like, okay, the vaccine isn't meant to prevent any sort of spread. It's meant to keep viral load down. And and so we couldn't understand as young, we could see if we were over the age of 55, as the recommendation said, we could see being required. But all of us who had been exposed to it, we were like, okay, I don't understand why I'm required to take this. And then what was the weird thing, and they may have fixed it since then, but all of us had like really severe cases of COVID from working on the front lines. And we were always curious if that's why our shots made us have such a reaction the first time. And the symptoms, I'm not going to talk about them here, but they were so weird. I decided I would never mess with it. I would rather lose my job. And I went through a lot of grief. I mean, I worked for a long time with that half vaccination, and they made me wear like crazy, like respirator masks and stuff like that just to do my job. But I would not get that. Okay, I've said enough. But the problem is just applying for a job at a hospital here, they ask you, are you vaccinated? It's one of the 3 questions just to fill out an application. and you answer no, and they don't even allow you to fill out the application. So I don't even have the opportunity to do a religious exemption here because the COVID vaccine is the number one question when I apply to hospitals. So I'm a phlebotomist. I can't do that, So
I still find it very
it's a little
strange.
violent for me, but
No, you're
I'm
fine.
not worry about me, guys. I'm fine. I'm just saying my experience.
I find it funny that people talk about how dangerous COVID is. I'm not saying COVID wasn't dangerous back when it first started off and started spreading like fucking monkeypox flu back in India. But anybody who paid attention to the numbers of infections versus deaths, the death rate never got above 2%, and the COVID, even at its worst, was still 97 point survivable. So I'm still trying to. I've gotten past the point where I start giving crap because it's like I did the numbers. Robert was there the entire time through COVID, watching my numbers, double checking me, all this other stuff. He was double checking the hell out of me, and we couldn't understand why everything was being pumped up. This is the most dangerous thing on the planet. No, it's a very dangerous thing for other places that don't have vaccinations at all, like in India. Holy crap. We thought we had people dying. India, they were burning people in the streets, like piles of bodies in the streets, because they don't have vaccinations for anything over there.
I remember they were stealing oxygen tanks to try and keep their elderly relatives alive, it was terrifying. And I think, can I just give you a theory? And again, this is a non-professional opinion. This is just my own experience working on the front lines with COVID, okay? There was something about viral load. And I believe this when it comes to the flu. I believe this when it comes to COVID. I believe this with everything. And it's called viral load. It means that if you're exposed to a small amount of something, your body has a chance to start the response sooner. But if you get a large viral load, if somebody comes in super sick with COVID into your hospital, and like I was always checking people's temperatures and stuff like that, if you get exposed to a large dose of vaccine, you get sick before your body has a chance to respond. That makes a huge difference. And when you talk about cities or people
breaking
living
up, Kiki.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get closer.
I'm not getting any trouble at all from her end of the video, so it's probably you.
So I was just saying, when you live in close quarters, when you live in cities, like this was a big problem in the pandemic of the 1920s in like Philadelphia and stuff like that. When you live in close quarters, that viral load is so much larger that you get way sicker. And the sicker you are, the more viral load you can give to another person. It's just so, I mean, I'm not saying that that's what happened with India in different places. I'm just saying that's my experience is like, and then, I couldn't understand why we didn't isolate and protect the vulnerable and the rest of us go let society function. That was a big thing for me is like, why couldn't we protect the most vulnerable in our society? And the interesting thing is my church stayed open the entire COVID, and they stopped wearing masks like halfway through. I don't know, like what.
I wore a mask for an entire week during the whole raging of COVID thing. And that's only because I was working while I had COVID and I was a maintenance man fixing up apartments. So I literally, when nobody was there, no mask. Anybody even opened the door, it's mask on. It was literally policy. If you didn't do it, you were fired. And I'm like, hey, if I'm still, when I start to feel better, I'll stop wearing the mask. When I'm feeling like, even nowadays, if I get sick, I wear a mask when I know I'm still infectious. Once it's passed, I take the mask off. Everybody's like, you were sick? Oh my God. It's like, I'm not carrying it anymore.
It's a good practice, though. I like that masks are kind of acceptable in our society now to wear a mask. But I will tell you, because I worked in the hospital, I took measures. I was one of those people. And, here I'm pretty conservative. I'm an independent, but I was the one in the grocery store always wearing that mask. I was the one always everywhere I went because I knew I was working in the hospital and I knew there was a bigger chance that I was exposed to it and I could pass it on to somebody else. And so I was taking one for the team, so to speak. I knew people looked at me side-eyed, but I was wearing that mask everywhere because I didn't want to be a spreader. And like, you know what I mean? Like, much went into it. Like I forewent so much time in my thought. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
It's called being responsible, so I get it. I wear a mask when I'm sick because I'm not trying to transmit. Once I'm no longer transmissible, I stop wearing a mask because, okay, I'm done spreading it.
I mean, yeah. Like speaking of the masks, you saw people wearing the masks that was coughing and sneezing inside their masks, and like I was in a this is at the height of the pandemic. I was in Walmart and I saw this person walking through, and they had one of those blue freaking hospital masks on, and this person was coughing in it, sneezing in it, and wanted to lift the mask up, had snot in their beard. I'm thinking, my freaking God, get an actual mask instead of stealing one from the hospital.
But it goes back to viral load too. A mask like that, unless you've got a respirator on that's fitted to your face, it's not going to stop you from getting the virus. I know that from working in the hospital. The only thing those masks do is stop viral load, you guys. And I'm not saying that like
no.
That's accurate. I
was saying this back years ago.
Large particle.
Yeah, Angel D says, does anyone remember the first time you coughed in public after the masks were no longer mandatory?
Yes, I do. I think about 6 people about shit themselves.
Those comments you're making about Melbourne and the laws inside Australia are breathtaking. Did you guys, Carl and Robert, did you hear what Angel's saying about Australia?
Yeah, she put
I didn't. I was
a
busy
link in the
paying
chat.
attention to the conversation, so you'll have to forgive me on that one.
Yeah, Angel D said, here's the link to the longest lockdown in the world. Melbourne set to end world's longest lockdowns.
Wow.
Yeah, I had I was involved in a group who had a few people who were from Australia, and during the time I made some comments which for my perspective where I lived weren't inaccurate, but they kicked me out of the group, and then I'm like, okay, fine. You guys don't want to listen to anything but what you guys have. No, we can't because we'll be fined and all. It's like, okay, but that's not where I live.
Yeah.
I'm not going to censor what you guys have to say. I'm going to listen to it. Doesn't mean I have to pay attention to it, but yeah. I'm not going to stop them from telling us what's going on in Australia at all, because I heard some really draconian shit happening during COVID in Australia.
I heard the country was completely divided, like east to west. Like there was an entire sect of the country who said, you're not imposing your rule. I heard that, Angel. I don't know. An entire part of the country was like, no way are you imposing these on us. This is sticky.
Angel D says, at Bria Silva, it was like the ending of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I'm sorry, it's been a long time since I've even seen that movie, so you have to remind me what the ending was like.
She said when everyone stops and points, screaming, LOL. I guess she's talking about after you coughed after the mask mandate was over, people would stop, point, and scream.
I like this other comment. Some states refused lockdown. I don't like it for the reason you're thinking.
Yeah.
I like it because it's an amusing point, because most of Florida's like, we're not locking down. We're not going to wear masks. It's like, and then you can't complain when a bunch of people die of it because you've literally just said we don't care.
Yeah, but they didn't have worse statistics than the places that locked down draconianly, like New York.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't turn to Florida and say you did something wrong when New York had worse stats and they locked everything down way worse. And,
New York has a higher population density too.
What was that?
New York has a higher population density too.
Than what? Parts of Miami?
Pretty much any part of Florida.
But you got to understand parts of Miami had population density as much as New York City, NYC. But the other, I just want to go back to one that Bria said. She said, I spent so much money on cute masks with design that matches my scrubs. And that's so true. And I want to say some things. The pandemic touched my heart. We had when it started, a bunch of women like my grandmother who are at home, I don't know where they came up. I love New Hampshire. They knitted, they sewed over 5,000 handmade masks and delivered them to our hospital. And we would put them over our surgical masks. They were so beautiful. And then the other thing I wanted to say is, you guys remember when Kim Kardashian came out with the Skims mask? And I wanted one so bad, but they were always sold out. Do you guys remember that? The Skims masks? They were like the hottest masks for a while.
Angel D says we couldn't leave the country or have anyone fly in, but all the celebrities could fly in and do quarantine in their mansions.
Yeah, me. I still got one of the first masks I got. So
I love it. That's a good one. Is that a handmade one, or did you buy it?
that one we bought at the beginning of it, and I have another one that's Avengers. I think it's either Avengers or the Guardians of the Galaxy. Other than that, I just, if I had to wear anything and I forgot those masks, my wife worked in home health aid or as an HHA, and she had to get the COVID shot. It was a personal choice of hers. I let her make it, and I haven't bashed her about it at all. She made that choice, not me, for work, and she got buttloads of PPE. We still have N95 masks we haven't used.
Oh, I keep them in my first aid kit because, like I said, I've learned now that the stigma is gone. If you're sick and you can maybe not give that to an elderly person at the grocery store. Oh shit, my husband's calling. You guys, I gotta go to make dinner. I gotta go. My husband's calling.
All right. I'll talk to you later, Kiki.
Thank you so much for having me on the channel. Chat, you were wonderful. Thank you for teaching me, and Carl and Robert, thank you for your knowledge, and I hope you have me back sometime.
We will.
All right, take care. Bye.
Yeah, that's fun.
Angel, he says, "I'll buy Kiki, darling."
Yeah, I'm reading the comments from Angel right now because I was paying attention to the conversation we were having. So
yeah, I actually feel physically sick to think back to how absolutely powerless we felt during that lockdown. It was we were doing 1 week hard lockdown, and then it was 2, and then it was a month. Oh, it reminds me of Mr. A. Fauci. Oh, well, do a week, do a week, it'll be fine. Then it was 2 weeks, then it was a month, and then it was what, almost two freaking years.
I think the reason that it happened is because the reason that happened the way it did so unsuccessfully is because you had the people, well, I'm not gonna do anything the government tells me to do. I don't care what it is. And it's like, okay, if you stay in your damn house for like 2 or 3 weeks, just do it nationwide. Nobody does anything.
Yep.
And literally when you all come out, there's not going to be anything to be afraid of. But there's people, well, I'm not going to stay at home. I got to go out and work. It's like, okay, you're a workaholic. We get it. But, if they had complied with that, I'm sure we would have seen a lot less. I'll be back in like 60 seconds. I got to go to the bathroom again. That's what happens when you drink loads of water.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
And it too could bring people together, creating a shared experience that bridges cultures and generations. The ship's construction and eventual launch were designed to be milestones in maritime history, drawing attention from around the world. Palmer hoped the ship would inspire people to dream big and pursue ambitious goals, much like the original Titanic did in its time. Despite the grandeur of his vision, the project faced numerous challenges from the outset. Financial difficulties, logistical hurdles, and skepticism from critics delayed its progress.
Who wants to get on a boat that's already sunk?
Oh, I don't think it'll ever get off the ground.
However, Palmer's determination remained steadfast, and he continuously reiterated his...
That was so funny, this woman's comment. Why would you want to get on a boat that's already sunk?
I just don't think that's a wise choice to rebuild to try to build another version of a ship that sank by iceberg.
Yeah.
It seems like a huge waste of money. It's like the Noah's Ark thing.
Yeah.
It got built in the South. Why the hell would you waste all that material to build a boat just so you can be a sycophantic person?
Yeah.
No problem. No problem at all.
Yeah. That sounds good. Chicken queso.
his commitment to bringing Titanic
manicotti. I
to
just
life.
had cheese
The
manicotti the other
project,
day.
according to him, was not just about building a ship, but about reigniting the spirit of innovation and adventure that defined the early 20th century.
The Titanic was dubbed unsinkable, much like the dream of Clive Palmer to recreate her.
Design and specifications. Titanic 2 is designed to be a faithful reproduction of the original RMS Titanic.
Now, why would you want to build the ship straight as a freaking reproduction of the RMS Titanic? That's just saying, oh yeah, it's going to sink too. Maybe it'll sink next to the original Titanic.
Capturing its grandeur while incorporating modern advancements to ensure safety and functionality, measuring approximately.
I've been done with the Titanic since before the movie came out. So yeah.
Oh, you've been done with it?
If somebody wants to waste all that money building another one,
yeah,
then I'm not going to pay attention. I'm not going to give them any traction or attention from my end. So yeah. Why would I bother watching this junk?
Yeah. Well, I had a Mary Trump video pulled up, and she says some very interesting stuff in it.
Well, Mary Trump's got to be more interesting than the Titanic right now, because I already knew I was studying Titanic before everybody else was. Like, I was studying the Titanic back in the mid '80s. So when Titanic came out, and everybody, oh, we know, it's like I already know all this crap. People started asking me questions, and it's like, blah, 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 blah. It was like, how did you know all that? I read books.
Okay. This one is called Trump Humiliated by Canada Prime Minister and a Child.
People say snoring. Welcome to this week's edition of Trump Trolls Trump, the show where one Trump trolls other people who happen to have the same last name. I will leave it to you to decide who is whom in that scenario.
Yeah, you're starting to sound like a good meal right there.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
It's day 4. No, it's not. It's day 5,722,678 days into the new Trump regime. Holy shit, my brain fried. All right. So Donald has repeatedly stated, like practically since the inauguration, that he wants Canada, an independent nation and our former ally, to become the 51st state of the United States of America. Why, ask you? Nobody knows. He's insane. He said it again yesterday at a press conference in the Oval Office. Let's take a look.
And Canada is just absolutely, I say it, and sometimes people smile and sometimes they say great idea, but Canada, their taxes would come down greatly. Their security would go up greatly. Amazing.
I love it how she changed his voice.
I know, it sounds like he's a munchkin or on helium.
Things happen to Canada. And really, Canada in this particular, why would we pay $200 billion a year in subsidies to Canada when they're not a state? You do that for a state, but you don't do that for somebody else's country. So I think Canada is going to be a very serious contender to be our 51st state.
Yes, that was a real reaction from the White House press corps, the Oval Office. Actually, no. It was not, although it
I like the Lollipop Guild comment.
In Brussels, Belgium this week, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was asked what kind of chance Donald's proposal might have. Watch this.
I've said unequivocally from the beginning, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that Canada will ever be the 51st state.
I cannot tell you how offensive it is to me that a reporter actually asked that question, as if Donald's proposal has any basis in reality at all. It's literally something he made up because see aforementioned use of the word insane.
It's a gravy comment.
All this is going to do is antagonize one of our closest allies and increase the possibilities. At this rate, it's looking like probabilities that Canada is going to meet us point for point with tariffs. In other words, the trade war we're about to be in because of Donald's reckless application of tariffs on many, many Canadian goods that this country actually needs will skyrocket, which of course will increase the cost of American goods to American consumers, and also importantly, undermine one of our greatest allyships in history. So it also just, there, does it matter that it doesn't make sense because he never makes sense? Well, it matters because there are people in the world, or in the country anyway, who actually believe what he says, and the people surrounding him, even though they know he's out of his fucking mind, are going to do anything he wants them to do in order to appease him. Because he really is like Billy Mummy in that Twilight Zone episode, wishing people out into the cornfields who don't do his bidding. And you really should watch that episode. It is instructive. There's also just this whole idea, this false premise that Canada is like a welfare state and America is always bailing Canada out. That is completely untrue. Completely untrue. Mm-hmm. Again, Canada provides us essential goods that we need and vice versa. It's how it works. It's how trade works. There have been treaties signed to make sure that it's done in an appropriate manner. And even though the idea that Canada would become our 51st state is completely beyond the pale and something, as Trudeau said, will never happen, there is a snowball's chance in hell that will happen. If Canada theoretically were to become our 51st state, it would be like the biggest blue state in the country. So maybe it's not such a terrible idea after all, except I love Canada and I want Canada to maintain its sovereignty at all costs.
All right, you have a good day, Angel.
Okay, before we go any further, please take a second to like and share this video. And if you have not already, please subscribe to our channel. After you subscribe, just click that bell and you will be alerted every time new videos drop. So, a lot of deals are done with a handshake, right? That's a truism. And on Monday, the Egyptian foreign minister met with alleged Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Washington. During the press conference they had, the pair took no questions, left the room very awkwardly after what I think should henceforward be known as the Rubio handshake. Check this out.
Mr. Secretary, how can you own Gaza by the U.S. with so much opposition from Saudi Arabia?
Like, that's actually really damn funny.
Yeah.
Aw.
Pause it
little
for a
guy.
second.
Who got the rose?
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
Two closeted gay men who found out they agree with each other and try to shake hands in the most manly way possible, while not, and then accidentally forget that they're still in the closet. Like, it was that damn awkward.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were happy, but that's what it kind of seemed like to me. Two closeted gay men trying to shake hands in the most manly manner possible, but neither one of them can figure out how to pull it off without looking a little bizarre.
Yeah.
Okay, you can play it again. I just want to make that comment.
Anyway, I know this is a deep cut, but clearly Marco Rubio shakes hands like he drinks out of water bottles. I don't know if they just literally have no chemistry and could not figure out how to touch each other without, like, I don't know, catching something. Or I think this is it. I think Rubio probably said, hey, it'd be really cool if we went out there and we did a secret handshake, and they just didn't practice enough. That's what I'm going with. All right,
My
so
theory
some
still
serious stuff
stands.
happening. Another pressing issue for the New York administration is magnets, which is refreshing because it's usually water pressure in shower heads. So what do magnets do? How do they work? If only we had these things called physicists who study something called physics, who could explain the mysteries of magnetism to us. But let's listen to Donald, because he has a new theory of magnetic attraction.
I'm back
And
to listen to my
I
key
think it's going
point.
to rewrite the science books. The magnet theory. Take a look.
And instead of using hydraulic, like on tractors that can handle anything from hurricanes to lightning to anything, they used magnets. It's a new theory.
The
Magnets
boys.
are going to lift the planes up, and it doesn't work. And they had billions and billions of dollars of cost overruns. I met the architect. I said, have you designed a ship before? This is one of the biggest ships in the world. It's like landing at LaGuardia Airport. But you look at the kind of waste, fraud, and abuse that this country is going through, and we have to straighten it out.
Ooh, he has a new tagline. Wow. Yes, it's a new thing, those magnets. I don't know. When it comes to planes, I kind of prefer the Bernoulli principle. I don't want big magnets. What? Like keeping plane? What is this? Okay. So there's a very big ship landing at LaGuardia Airport. That's an odd use of LaGuardia Airport. So as usual, he has no idea what he is talking about. But he certainly sounded in command of the material. I have to grant him that. So, if magnet theory is a little too complex for the rest of us and we can't quite follow Donald's brilliant reasoning on the topic, you have to keep in mind, as we've been told repeatedly by the right-wing media ecosphere, Donald is an outside-the-box thinker. I still haven't figured out which box they're talking about, but I'm going to take them at their word, I guess. He's also, and this is according to him, so it must be true, a great quote-unquote weaver. In this next clip, he explains to Bret Baier at Fox his brilliant art, his brilliant conversational art of weaving.
But they have other problems. And, let's go back over there, because I'm the weaver. I'm the great weaver. You know that.
Trust me.
Okay? I'm the great weaver. Somebody
Somebody
said, oh, he rambled. No. Only the fake news says that. To weave, you have to be brilliant. To ramble, you don't have to be brilliant.
I just get back in the weave.
But I like the weave because it covers a lot of territory and it covers it much more quickly.
What's the
No, it doesn't.
difference between a service animal and an emotional support pet? Well, a service animal.
I like the weave because it covers up the fact, at least I think it covers up the fact, that I'm a complete moron who doesn't know what I'm talking about and
Yep.
think
You
that
don't
I'm
piss
actually
somebody off
being
now.
coherent. And I'm making no sense at all. The weave is a synonym for babbling, rambling incoherently. I could go on, but you get the point.
Does he?
I wonder why more people don't look, because he says this kind of I'm the smartest, I'm brilliant, I'm great at this. It is so embarrassing.
Now that's starting to skip and shit.
Buy an invisibility cloak to put on anytime they came within your vicinity. So the weave is not some kind of brilliant stream of consciousness connecting of the dots. Well, it is, I guess, in his head. It is just yet another indication that he's lost it completely. And he's completely unaware of this. So the new administration is about big concepts, like totally dismantling the federal government, completely turning the DOJ into a bunch of brown shirts, there to do Donald's bidding, that kind of big thing. But this next thing is so big that it's got to be bigger than this. Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily think the Super Bowl is big, but other people do. So let's go with that analogy. All right. So when you for those of you who have kids, when to build up their self-esteem, you praise them and you applaud them when they complete, age appropriately tasks that are challenging for them. It could be tying their shoes or putting their dishes in the sink, stuff like that. And, the older they get, the more complex the tasks get, right? You're not going to compliment them on tying their shoes when they're 14, for example. So in the next video, where am I going with this, you ask? We're going to see how the crowd treats a small child with a map as if he's done something notable, and that they are there to pretend that there's some meaning here in order to prop him up and make him feel good about himself. Watch this.
This is a proclamation declaring today, February 9th, 2025, as the first ever Gulf of America Day.
We're flying right over it right now. So we thought this would be appropriate. Even bigger than the Super Bowl. This is a big thing. And almost everybody now has assented to that.
Attention on board. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention out the right side of the aircraft. Air Force One is currently in international waters for the first time in history, flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
Wow, he did that well. Isn't that nice? What about Make America Great Again, right? That's what we care.
Yeah, so while flying over an invisible body of water, that happened. Again, I'm so embarrassed, but as should we all be. But forget, and I apologize. I actually thought it was going to be like a 6-year-old. I did not realize that was going to be a video of Donald. Sorry. But honestly, a 6-year-old is way too mature to fall for this bullshit. The fact that he thinks that this is a good use of his time, again, shouldn't surprise us anymore because he's deranged, right? He's deranged. Think about all the people involved in that effort, from the pilot to the person handing him the executive order that he got to sign with this stupid Sharpie, to the people surrounding him, to the people making the map, the people making sure that the plane flew over the Gulf of Mexico. So this insipid little thug would have his moment of glory and actually believe that he's accomplished something, when, as usual, as always, he's accomplished nothing except wasting our time and our money. Earlier this week, speaking of children,
pause it or
fledgling dictator Elon Musk.
Okay, Jesus, I had to pee like a racehorse, man. But how many people are watching now?
One.
Wow. Yeah. How many did we have back before everybody left?
About 7 or 8.
Oh, so apparently we had one of the popular kids on, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to skip this towards the end. You got to hear this stupid shit.
Well, you're more into watching videos instead of talking right at the moment. That's why I'm like, okay, so yeah.
Well, I mean, what do you think about her? About all this dumb shit going on in the country with Trump?
I think that people who are following Trump blindly are in the FAFO stage of everything, And for those people who don't like my opinions, they don't like what I'm saying about Trump or his policies. Well, I'm running my own podcast. They're free to go to an echo chamber and listen to their own opinion coming out of other people's mouths as much as they want without much critical thinking behind it. But that's not going to be me.
Yeah, because I mean, everything's going on in the country. You have is basically Project 2025 being rolled out in front of us now. Mind you, one of the federal judge.
But he has no attachment to Project 2025.
Yeah, bullshit.
Or unless you listen to the Mary Trump clip, I have no relationship to Project 2025. Because I'm part of the Lollipop Guild.
I mean, you heard me say oompa loompa doopity doo.
No, that's straight up Munchkin territory right there. High pitched voice doesn't go for the Oompa Loompas. That's straight up Wizard of Oz shit right there. Oompa Loompa would be a really short dude with a really deep voice.
Oompa loompa doopity doo.
Yeah, like a bass midget or some shit.
Yeah. Now, what I was wanting to play really quick was, there's like 2 clips left in this. It's they just started a task force. Yeah, it's a subcommittee of the oversight committee, and it's a task force. And then of course,
subcommittee of a committee.
Yeah.
That sounds dangerously minuscule and hair splitting.
Yes, and the clip after that is where little Elon Jr. tells Trump, "You're not the president. Go away." And then he tells him to shut his fucking mouth.
That's all right, Aquarius.
Yeah, it's okay, Aquarius.
Phone calls happen.
And then he's sitting up on his daddy's shoulders, looking over at Trump, going, 4-year-olds don't do that shit. He's either had to have heard it from somebody that was around him, or somebody told him that.
Or both possibilities still ring true.
Yeah.
And in combination.
Yeah, you're not the president. Go away. I bet you his daddy said that.
Well, considering he's the father of 13 children now.
Yep, and apparently his the mother of his 4-year-old is pregnant again.
Oh no! All I know is he just had a 13th kid, and it's like, wow, we've got this guy who's got 13 kids, acknowledges 3 of them.
Yeah,
he's the one digging through the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 13 children. Wow is absolutely right.
Yep.
And unless he acknowledges them, they are not his children.
Yeah, House Oversight Republicans hold a press briefing to announce the creation of a new task force.
Of the task force on the declassification of federal secrets. This task force will be a part of the House Oversight Committee and led by the very talented and persistent Congresswoman from Florida, Anna Paulina Luna.
It is with profound honor that I have been entrusted by Speaker Mike Johnson and Chairman James Comer to lead the House Oversight Task Force on declassification of federal secrets. Our first investigation will be announced, but it's going to be covering on a thorough investigation into the John F. Kennedy assassination.
What sort of witnesses will you expect to have at your hearings? I know you said the first ones in March. That be department heads, former employees of various agencies.
Would you like to jump in? Yeah, I was going to say, based on what we're actually looking to do with the JFK investigation, I'm looking to actually bring in some of the attending physicians at the initial assassination, and then also people that had been on the various commissions looking into, like the Warren Commission, looking into the initial assassination.
Totally.
Oh, and they want to look at 9/11 all over again.
All of the physicians from the JFK era are dead. Everybody from the Warren Commission is dead.
Yep.
There's only one person who controls that file, and not even a presidential executive order could undo how that file's classified.
Yeah, they want to bring it. They want to bring in everyone from the JFK, everyone from Martin Luther King, yeah, everyone from the Bobby Kennedy. They want to re-dig into 9/11.
Again, some of those documents are classified as HUX, and that is not.
Yep.
The president can't just wave a wand that it magically be declassified. Doesn't matter what Trump says.
No, and you have you have these you have these MAGA heads on TikTok, TikTok and Twitter. Finally, we get to know what really happened to
No, you don't.
JFK.
No, you don't. Those files are listed as HUX, and only one person can unlock those. And I doubt that person is likely to release those files anytime soon.
Yeah, and it's highly unlikely that he actually likes Trump.
We don't get to know nothing. Basically, the person holding control of the HUX files, like the JFK assassination, Roswell, anything that's classified HUX, does not get released unless the person in charge of that file decides to release it.
Yeah.
And they've already tried every venue there is to declassify the JFK assassination file.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. It's because that person is only answerable to themselves.
Oh no, she said. Aquarius says no. I was agreeing with you.
Oh, I get it.
LOL.
I get it. I am totally on board with that. We don't get to know nothing. It's because that person is because that person decides when to release that file.
Yeah.
Not congressional oversight committees, president. None of them can undo that file except for one person, and none of us knows who that person is because they're not. As far as I know, they're not released. Their name isn't public knowledge. It's like classified to the tits. I mean, the president doesn't even know who is in charge of that file.
Yeah. So basically, that executive order that he wrote up for the Martin Luther King and the Bobby Kennedy and JFK, he was just writing an imaginary freaking executive order because they ain't going to happen.
Yeah, it gets released by the person who's in charge of that file. They decide when it gets released, if ever.
I remember what I was going to say now. The judge that froze the executive order freezing the federal funding. Elon Musk hammered this guy so bad on X that the judge's name is John Bates. Musk hammered Judge Bates so bad on X that it got to Judge Bates, and he lifted the sanction on the executive order, but he stated that that the president needs to spend what's allotted by Congress, and that's the only reason why he's lifting the freeze on the executive order. And personally, I see it. The only reason why he lifted it was because Elon Musk hammered him and threatened him on X, and
get off of X.
And the judge couldn't take it no more.
So get off of X. I haven't been on X at all because I left it because when they changed their new policy to use your content however they want to use it, including using AI, I said hell no and left. I'm sorry. I agreed to the terms of posting what I want and not having anybody use it because it's my own content. My content is my creation, not theirs. Yeah. I was not going to give them the chance to use any of my content or propaganda. I wasn't going to allow it. I'm not going to allow people to use AI on my stuff to further their own prejudices or agendas.
Yeah. Aquarius says,
I'm on Facebook. Aquarius, I am on Facebook. I'm on YouTube and I'm on TikTok, but I got off of X. I've been in every single right-wing echo chamber website. Much like X became a shit show for that. I was on Wimkin. I'm gonna drop. I already dropped True Social because all it is a bunch of sycophantic people being yes men for this new Christian Republican agenda, which I don't back. So I exited. I deleted my account. I was on Wimkin. I was on all of them that you can imagine. I was even on Rumble. And Rumble, when I tried to get on Rumble to go do a live with them, they tried to make me pay for Rumble.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I had to get verified and all this other crap. And we have this small membership fee to do anything. It's like, no. I just stick to YouTube and TikTok. But I also noticed that, like, before Trump got in office, a lot of people started sneaking in the last month or two of the presidential election race.
Yeah.
They started coming back to Facebook, back to all these other mainstream social media pages. And then when he won, it was all about glowering. So I left for an entire week. I left Facebook for an entire week. I just stopped going there because I didn't want to hear people, we're going to make America great now. Well, he's won. We're so happy. I was like, yeah, no. You guys have your own echo chamber for that. You shouldn't be doing it everywhere.
Yeah. Well, like here, Chip Roy, who's a freaking MAGA moron. Chip Roy has actually introduced. Representative Roy reintroduces the legislation to repeal the FACE Act. This bill is co-sponsored by Reps Harriet Hagerman. She's the one that beat what's her name, Liz Cheney, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Daniel Webster, Eli Crane, Josh Brecken, and all these are freaking like the MAGA 20. Okay, this bill is supported by the Thomas More Society, Concerned Women for America Legislative Action Committee, Advancing American Freedom, Citizens for Renewing America, Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising, Catholic Vote, Students for Life Action, Family Research Center, Live Action, Americans United for Life, and the Susan B. Anthony list. Basically, what you're looking at here, brother, is nationwide abortion ban.
Now, you said they're trying to take down? Oh, yeah, they're trying to repeal the FACE Act?
Yeah.
Because they want to be able to, it sounds to me like they want to be able to violently protest to get their own agenda across.
Yeah, because it says Tom McCluskey, Director for Government Affairs, Catholic Vote. Students for Life Action calls out for the repeal of the FACE Act because it was created to be a weapon for the Department of Justice to use against those who peacefully protest against the human rights abuse of our day, abortion. President Bill Clinton and his administration were proud to...
I want to know why abortion is considered a human rights violation.
Let's see here. Okay, hold on. This bill is supported by the Thomas More. I read all that. With the election of President Trump, Catholics are now better protected from unfair persecutions that they were subject under the Biden administration. 97% of the FACE Act were pro-lifers. Despite hundreds of attacks on pregnancy centers and Catholic churches, now that we have a president who will sign the bill into law, it's time to pass Rep. Chip Roy's FACE Act repeal. Thank you, Rep. Roy, for continuing to be the champion for supporters of democracy as well as people of faith.
Again, how is abortion a human rights violation?
Well, in the eyes of the Christian conservatives, life begins at conception.
Okay. And what are we all at conception?
Cells. A clump of cells.
Human, we're not considered human beings scientifically until we are born. And yes, there are people who are like, well, that's not what it doesn't matter what you believe. We're going by a scientific standard. Changing that means you're ignoring science. Like when fertilization happens, oh, that's when life begins. No, that means something else entirely. You could say it's when blood gets introduced to the fetus, because when people are like, are you killing babies? Babies have to be born to be babies. You're killing a fetus. If it's early on in the pregnancy, when right after conception, it's usually a zygote, which is a clump of cells.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going by the scientific definition of what these all are. That's why I'm being dispassionate about what they're saying.
Yeah.
Being passionate about what appropriate terms are. Because people are like, well, I'm pro-life. Okay, you're allowed to be pro-life. I get it. You can be. You can still be. Pro-choice. And it's both sides make sense, but saying that abortion is murder, it would only be considered murder if the baby, if the fetus is born.
Yeah.
Once you're born and you're an actual baby, then it becomes murder. Before then, like I know we have laws that are like, well, the unborn baby, no, it's a fetus. You can get damages if something happens to your unborn fetus. I get that. But saying an unborn baby is more for winning juries over, winning public opinion about a woman suffering that. Yeah, that's common sense abortion ruling right there, Aquarius. I am totally into that comment. I get it. Like when people say that, like people will say that in certain states that you can give birth all up until until delivery. No. They try to, most abortion providers that still exist try to do it before the end of the pregnancy. I mean, third trimester abortions are rare, even for the abortion providers who do that, but they'll even tell you it's rare. Like it's seriously an oddball thing to have an abortion be given in a third trimester. And just like here in Kansas, if you're past, I think it's what? If you're beyond, I think it's unless something is off with a kid, you can only get an abortion up till the end of the first trimester, I believe, unless there's like some health issue, which makes sense because why would you abort a baby right the day before it's due to be born? It makes no sense.
Yeah, and
or why would you do the fetus like that?
It says Congressman reintroduced the Space Act repeal is soared against pro-lifers.
Because there are people who let their misguided religious beliefs interfere with medical evaluations. That's the same argument as, oh, you can't have ham because I'm Jewish.
Yeah, Aquarius says, I'm in Ohio. It used to be 20 weeks, but I think it's like 8 weeks now.
Well, across most of the red states, it's like 6 weeks, and then it's illegal to get an abortion. Some people, some of the MAGA heads want to ban it at moment of conception. If you have sex and it results in a pregnancy, you're screwed. You need to have that baby. Okay, so what about the teenager who gets raped? I'm sorry, they shouldn't have to give birth to some rapist's baby because, well, we believe in life. I believe in not raping people. I believe in zero tolerance for rape. And if I'm still getting over this fact that they're rounding up all these all the immigrants, but they're not able to track down these guys who rape or predators, but they can collect all the illegal immigrants.
Oh, you're not going to believe
doing their job.
You're not going to believe this, brother. They actually have a freaking Doge website now.
Oh, I'm sure.
Outlays on budget, benefit payments, CMS, Health and Human Services, Social Security Administration, off budget, the Treasury interest of the public, interest of the public debt.
So why are we looking at this Doge thing?
Because I want to see how much they're ripping us off for. Okay.
Well, I'm not going to speculate on how much they're ripping us off for with their own website. I'll let people that are interested in all that do that.
Okay.
But as far I'm still trying to figure out why some people are. Well, it's against my religion to have an abortion. Okay, are you Christian? Yes. Where does it say in the Bible you can't have an abortion? And yes, I know people will use the thing, well, I knew you before you were born. That has nothing to do with abortion at all. Not a goddamn thing. You cannot make that make sense in common, in today's nomenclature. And besides all these people who are going on and on about, well, I'm a Christian. I believe in this. Is 3/4 of the things they say they're going to believe in are from the Old Testament, which was supposed to have been swept away after Christ came.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, and hey, we got an official thing from the White House, the presidential act. This is basically, brother, that executive order where he is giving more power to Elon and Doge, and it comes straight from the freaking White House.
That made news yesterday. Or
establishing and implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency Executive Order, January 20th, 2025, by the authority vested in me as President of as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America. It is hereby ordered. Section 1, purpose: the executive order establishes the Department of Government Efficiency to implement the President's Doge agenda by modernizing federal technology and software to maximize government efficiency and productivity. Section 2, definitions: as used in this order, agency has the meaning given to it by Section 551 of Title 5.
They're making this an official agency.
No, that's what it says. The executive order, January 20th.
Okay, if they're making a government agency and Elon is the head of it, then that would mean that he is still he needs to be seen and given a committee meeting.
Yep. And it says right here, the agency has the meaning given to it in Section 551 of Title 5 United States Code, except that such term does not include the executive office of the president or any components thereof. Agency head means the highest ranking official of an agency, such as the secretary, administrator, chairman, or director, unless otherwise specified in this order. Section 3, DOGE structure, reorganization and renaming of the United States Digital Service. The United States Digital Service is hereby publicly renamed as the United States DOGE Service, or USDS, and shall be established in this executive order of the president. Establishment of the temporary organization. There shall be a USDS administrator established in the executive office of the president, who shall report to the White House Chief of Staff. There is further established within USDS, in accordance with Section 3161 of Title V United States Code, a temporary organization known as the U.S. DOGE Service Temporary Organization. So it's temporary. The U.S. DOGE Service Temporary Organization shall be headed by the USDS Administrator, and shall be dedicated to advancing the President's 18-month DOGE agenda. The U.S. DOGE Service Temporary Organization shall determine on July 4th, 2026, the termination of the U.S. DOGE Service Temporary Organization, and shall not be interpreted to imply the termination, attenuation, or amendment of any other authority or provision by this order. DOGE teams in consultation with USDS, each agency head shall establish within their respective agencies as DOGE team of that 4 employees, which may include special government employees hired or assigned within 30 days of the date of this order. Agency heads shall select the DOGE team members in consultation with the USDS administrator. Each DOGE team is typically include 1 DOGE team lead, 1 engineer, 1 human resource specialist, 1 attorney. Agency head shall ensure that DOGE team leads coordinate their work with the USDS and advise their respective agency heads on implementing the president's DOGE agenda. Well, didn't he just say that they would exclude the president from this DOGE thing?
You're the one trying to make sense out of it, not me.
Well, this is the executive order he fucking wrote.
I get it. It seems like you're gonna. I'm waiting for you to start quoting Hamlet and Shakespeare now.
Well, what do you think of this? What he's saying in this EO?
I personally think that this thing is just a phallic piece of crap.
Yep.
And
Aquarius
saying the president shall not be. It shall not include the president. Well, who the fuck are they answering to? The president.
Yeah.
Unless they're actually talking about Musk being president, in which case, okay, well, let's get rid of him then.
Yep.
I'm not a sympathizer with Elon Musk at all, and nor am I of Trump. So, yeah.
No.
But
we've been on for
people are standing behind him and touting that, oh, he's doing great things. Point out one great thing he's doing.
Yeah.
And I said that on TikTok, and nobody's bothered popping up. Everybody pops up. Well, he's done this. He's done that. Is like everything y'all are pointing out isn't helping the country. It's dividing the country.
Yeah.
But they see it how they want to see it.
I mean, do you really think they care? I mean, all they care about is their precious orange Mussolinis back in the freaking White House.
Well, the Phantom Fascist has his supporters, and I can't get behind him. I mean, I've heard a few of my friends on Facebook clamor that, oh, Mimo would have been crying and on her knees and thanking God that we got Trump back. It's like, okay, they're dead though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you think what's going on is going to be good for America, woo, you'll be screwed.
Yeah. We've been live for 2 hours and 14 minutes. You want to go ahead and wrap it?
Yep, we're gonna have to wrap it because I got other TikToks. I got TikToks to put up on TikTok.
Now, are you going to do your own video about this nonsense? Anytime later this week.
About which nonsense is that?
Well, about the SAVE Act and about the FACE Act.
Oh, I'm gonna do my own podcast about that stuff. Yeah. So I'm not. That means I can be as unhinged as I want, and because it's my podcast, I don't care. Yes, I do pay respect to you and your guests. That's why I wasn't as livid as I normally am. But yeah, when it's my podcast, like I don't care what anybody else says or thinks. It's nice they throw their opinions in, but
she wants to know if you have a channel.
On which thing?
A
channel on what? YouTube, TikTok, what?
Probably YouTube.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
I can go to your channel and
YouTube. Yes, I have my own channel. It's called The Skeptical Scotsman, of course. I have my own channel podcast there, and I'm hoping either tonight or sometime this week to make another pre-recorded podcast. I mean, I could go live with this through YouTube, but nobody's really asked for that except for Robert. But when they want it done, that's when I usually end up doing the lives through StreamYard and doing my own thing. But yes, I do translate. I do put it up on YouTube and try to pay attention to that. I'm surprised you can't find the Skeptical Scotsman. I'm the only person that I know of who has that name.
No, I found out. I'm copying the link to your channel so I can put it down in the live chat for.
So Aquarius can go check it out or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm also going to be making TikTok videos because I promised some people I would, and they have seen some of my stuff and they're loving what I say on TikTok because TikTok is for the apparently much younger crowd. And just for everybody who's out there, as of, what is it, yesterday or Friday, TikTok is now available in Google Play. So you can go download that app now if you choose to.
Yeah,
I'm only using it as a tool and entertainment.
Aquarius just subbed to you.
Why, thank you. I'm sure you'll find it intriguing, enlightening, and probably a little maddening. Because I do my own thing there. I'm rude, blunt as a spoon, but I've been doing this for a while now. So
you got what since what? What since like what 2007? 2000.
It's about 2018 or so.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've had people ask, well, where were you on COVID? I've dedicated entire podcasts to the situation with COVID. Hell, I even I had one on Podcastify or whatever, or Podcaster.
Yeah, well, it was Anchor because you and I started out together on Anchor, and then you went to the
Spotify. Anchor, then I started my own podcast while you went off and did your own podcast because issues arose, and I took a couple months off and then started doing my own thing. And I used to write scripts for my shows, and I have been small ever since. I mean, you ballooned out since you did your true crime podcast.
Yeah.
I haven't, but I'm not worried about it. I don't do it because I'm not doing it for the subscribers. I mean, I appreciate all of my subscribers. I just don't feel the need to. If I'm small, I'm good. If I'm big, I'm good. I'm still going to be the same person. So,
yeah.
I used to write. You can ask Robert. I used to write like 2 or 3 page scripts for my podcasts. That way, I could stay on talking points and whatnot. I no longer have to do that. I just like let it all fly because now I just organize my thoughts a little bit. And
Yeah.
well, if there are times where I fly off a tangent and ruin my own particular episode of podcast, but that's on me, not anybody else.
Aquarius says, I used to write scripts too. LOL.
Yeah, that's what my whole script thing of having 2 or 3 pages of script was about. But I'm honestly happier having my own podcast as opposed to having a shared podcast every episode, because I don't have to apologize. If I apologize, it means I'm truly am apologizing. If I don't apologize, well, you might have to suck it up a little bit and get over yourself.
You don't play well. You don't play well with others.
Oh, I can play well with others, but I like my own unfiltered thoughts flying through, and when I feel the need to filter it, that's when it becomes an issue. But I'm gonna get the hell off here because I got other videos to make. So have fun, you guys. Have a wonderful time. We might do this again at some point soon. I'm not sure because I don't know what all's going on yet.
Okay. Everyone have a good day. Peace.